Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be playing around with a little bit of spray paint. I'm going to be taking these wheels and spraying them black. I'm only spraying black down for a base coat so that the top coat will actually show its true color and look a lot better than just spraying it right onto the white. When you spray something on white, typically the color is going to be way brighter and it's not going to show up the way it's supposed to. So no, we are not just spraying these wheels black. That would not be very interesting. We're going to spice it up a little bit and do a lot more pop of a color, but I'm not going to show you that just yet. We're going to take care of cleaning up these wheels and make sure we can get a good base coat of black. Now this set of wheels is fresh off the car from a drift event, so there's rubber dust all over on it, plus some dirt caked into some of the grooves. So we got to scrub that out really good and then sand some areas just to make sure that the black base coat can stick really well to that wheel, and then it'll make the top coat look even better. So let's get to it. It's been probably a good half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. So I just focused on cleaning the one wheel for right now, mainly the backside where like in the barrel, because there's a lot of crud and grease and ishiness that's just been built up over the years. So when you look at that, these are aluminum wheels too. I just wet sanded the whole inside of the barrel. Much cleaner, very nice inside compared to what it was before. I mean, this is the other wheel that I haven't cleaned the inside yet. All that stuff is just stuck in there, just cooked in, baked on, discolored white. It's kind of like a burnt yellowish ishiness. Now it's nice and clean, nice surface to be able to spray paint onto. I do have some higher grit sandpaper coming in the mail. It should be here tomorrow, so I'm gonna go over that again with a finer grit sandpaper, probably like 300, maybe 400, because I just did that and took the old paint and crustiness off with 120 with wet sand. So it's not like super aggressive, but it still might show up through any type of paint. I don't think I mentioned this to start. We're just Plasti-Dipping these wheels. The base coat is black, and then the top coat is going to be a fancy Plasti-Dip over top. Still, again, I'm not going to tell you what that is yet. You're just gonna have to wait and see. I'll show you that at the end of the video. So we're gonna continue on with this other one in the barrel and get that all sanded out. I'm not really gonna sand the front face very much because I don't want that to be uneven. There's a lot more work to be done on the front when you start sanding the front. The barrel is pretty easy. So we're gonna continue with this other one and try and get that one all prepped up and ready. And I'll show you that when I'm done with that. All right, this is the next day. It got a little bit late last night, so I just kind of wrapped it up and only did the back side of the wheel or the barrel. Now I'm gonna move into doing the front side, but I'll give you a quick look at what the inside of the wheel looks like. These were powder coated wheels. They were purchased like that, but I believe the powder coating was maybe not done quite as great as it could have been, or just it was really thin. And correct me if I'm wrong, powder coat shouldn't just come off with just like light sanding. And it came off really easy. Luckily they're aluminum wheels, so it's not like it's gonna rust or anything. And we're gonna spray over this right away. So cleaned up, it is a little bit scratched. I have some finer sandpaper that I can go over that, but there's already like grooves in the wheel. I don't know if you can really see that, but like the aluminum has grooves in it already from being machined or made. So not that big of a deal. Now with the front side of the wheel, I am not gonna go that extreme and sand all of the powder coating off. I'm just gonna clean up some of the areas where there's stuff discolored and some really like caked on stuff that I couldn't get scrubbed off with like the soapy water. So for example, like right on the edge of the spoke here, there is some debris and ishiness and kind of scratches or whatever throughout the wheel. And like this stuff inside here, I can't get that cleaned off. I'm not even sure what that is. So we're gonna get that cleaned off really well and just very, very, very light sand on this outside edge of the wheel or the main face so that we don't have it scratched up. So I'm only trying to focus on 2 of the 4 wheels for right now, just so we can get these cleaned up and they have plenty of time to dry before we put the first coat on. Well, all right. It's been probably a good 4 hours. I spent maybe an hour, maybe a little more per wheel, trying to sand off all of the junk and nastiness and get them prepped for some of this paint so that it sits on here really nice and smooth and it looks really good. So I did not sand down the face of the wheel all the way. All I did was take 400 grit and 600 grit and basically take off any debris or ishiness that was stuck on the wheel and kind of cleaned up some of these little scuffs. There's nothing real deep or anything real bad, so I just cleaned it up the best I could. So now that all 4 of them are all prepped and ready to go, they are nice and dry. I washed them so they are spotless, and I also wiped them down with some brake cleaner. I don't have like acetone or anything for paint, but brake cleaner does just fine just to get any other oils off of the wheels. Now I have to tape off the rubber. I'm gonna tape off basically right on the edge and then try and cover up the majority of it and around the valve stem because we don't need that painted. And I'm gonna shove something down into the bolt holes, just the 4 of them. The other 4 that are wider, I think they're 4 by 114. Those ones don't really matter, I don't use those, and my wife doesn't use those on her Honda either. We have 1 wheel set up to be able to paint, so I'm gonna throw down a coat on the inside of the wheel and on the front face, and then we're gonna set it off to the side, and then we'll continue taping off the rest of them. I just kind of want to get 1 coat done, set it off to the side, tape 1, paint 1, set it off to the side, and kind of just go in a circle like that. And then by the time we get to the 4th one, we can lay another coat onto the first wheel. We're not going to go super heavy coats either. We can always come back and spray again. Getting inside that hub is going to be a little tricky there. Like I said, just kind of do light coat and we will come back later and get more. The first coat on the inside of the wheel went down really easy and actually laid it down pretty thick. So we might only need to do that 1 coat. It sprayed down really even, really nice. I don't think we'll have to go with a second coat of the black. We'll just wait until we get the top coat and then we can do multiple light coats of that on top of the black. So now we have to do the face of the wheel, which there's a little bit that came through, which is fine. I'm more concerned with like these little ridges. There's like the cavities where spraying into can kind of fill them up. So I have to be really careful and lay it down light in here, but then getting like the sides of the spokes, that's kind of going to be a pain. We'll see how it goes. We'll start with really light coats. I say that now and I'll probably just layer it on there, but we'll try and start out light on the face because this is what you're going to see more than the inside. Now that the first one has that first coat front and back, now I'm going to grab another wheel and start taping that off and do the same thing, get a coat inside and out, and so on and so forth until all 4 of those wheels have a first coat on, and then they're all sitting off to the side. We'll let those cure for at least 24 hours. Then we will add on our top coat of the mystery color. All right, we are back out for day 3 of painting these wheels. So I'll give you a close-up of what the wheels currently look like with that first heavy, pretty thick coat of the Plasti-Dip black. I went and picked up some more paint as well, so we're gonna lay some more down on here. There is some light spots, so I'm gonna show you that so we know where we have to focus the paint today to make sure that those light spots are covered. This is the very first wheel we painted. I don't know if it'll show up real well for you guys. Maybe I'll turn off these side lights for my painting so you can maybe see a little bit down inside these little grooves here. It's kind of light at the bottom, which I thought these were going to fill up more than that and like be easy to seal or cover, but it didn't seal as much as I wanted or cover as much. And then inside of these spoke areas. They're pretty light down in the bottoms, which I thought I went pretty heavy, but that's okay. We're gonna lay some more down. Now, what's gonna be really difficult for you guys to see is like right over the top of these spokes, there's almost like really little fine bubbles. It could be because I laid down coats going this direction and coming back this way, so it was getting like a double coat on the top. We're not gonna like sand that off or anything. There's a little bit down in here too, just from kind of overspray on some of it. We should be able to get enough of a second coat on that to kind of fill that little bit of craters or bubble craters in, so that it hopefully doesn't look so ishy when the color is laid on the top. And there you have it. I just finished putting on the last bit of paint on the fourth wheel. Now we play the waiting game again, let that dry and cure. The next part of the project is adding the color onto the wheels, but we are still waiting on that. Hopefully it'll be here within the next day or so, and then I will show you guys what the color is actually going to be on these previously white wheels. Well, it has been a few days since we finished up the base coats of black on the four wheels. The paint got held up over the weekend in shipping, so we unfortunately had to wait until Monday, but now we have the paint. It is from Dip Your Car. It is their Hyper Dip line. I am finally showing you the color. This is kind of what the color looks like. It's different once you spray it on. We went with burnt copper, which should be pretty decent with the white vehicle. It should hopefully stand out with the color schemes that I'm trying to go with the car. We've got to do a little bit of prep work now that they've been just sitting. There's a little bit of dust that's kind of settled from sitting in the garage. So we're going to wipe them down really good with some rubbing alcohol and a clean cloth, and make sure that they are spotless. There's no oils or debris sitting on them, so that we can start getting a first few coats on the front face of the wheels. We're not going to really worry about the back barrel of the wheel just yet. We are mainly focusing on the front face that you see when it's mounted on the car. So I'm going to get my little paint stand set back up, and then we're going to dust off the wheels and get them cleaned up so we can start laying down some paint. Now we're going to apply just a little bit at a time and see how this goes. We're not trying to lay down a full coat right now. We're just dusting it to make sure that we can get 4 nice dusting coats to kind of make it tacky, and then we will lay down a full coat later. They do recommend approximately an hour in between these tack coats as well, just to make sure that it can start to dry and get nice and sticky for that final coat to really adhere to the wheel. So we will get to it and start laying a little bit here. Gonna do a little light coat on every spoke first. There we go, made that pass that way. Now we're gonna go the other way. You can kind of see a little bit of sparkle. I can anyways. I'll show you guys in a minute that there's a little bit of sparkle starting to show up here. Like I said, we're just trying to go a really light dust coat. And we'll have to clean the tip of this can before we just let it sit. You can already see it's gonna look super cool. Alright, and that is what we're going to leave it with for right now, I believe. Maybe a couple little shots here and there. But I think that is what we're going to do, and just leave that sit. I don't know if you can actually catch any of the color yet. Once I get more coats on there, you'll start to see more and more of that color. I'm already really excited for what this is going to turn out to be. It's gonna make a totally different pop of color on the car. I'm really excited. It's now a few days later. There's been plenty of time for the paint to cure and dry on the wheels. I just have to mount them on the car so you guys can see the color on the car. Got the wheels on the car. Now it's time to go show you guys what they look like. I made it back just in time for it to start downpouring on me. Some of you may know from a previous video, I removed the soft top from the vehicle, so if it rains, I get soaking wet. So it started to rain really bad right as I was pulling back into the parking lot, so I was able to get it into the garage and I'm not soaking wet. So what do you guys think of the wheel color? Do you think I should match the front wheels to the rear wheels? Right now I just have the fronts as they came, and those are just the rear tires. Just remember that those are not going on the front. They have a plus 40 offset. Those cannot go on the front with my angle kit. It will rub everything. So should I go with that same color on the front? Should I leave the hub face of the fronts that dark gunmetal gray? Should I leave the chrome lip on it and paint the burnt copper on the hub face? You guys decide. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think. So I think this color turned out great for these wheels, and it looks super nice on a white vehicle. For a drift car, it's going to pop and it's going to look great going around the track. With that being said, that will end out today's episode. Thank you for tuning in today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.